What's up everybody, welcome to today's video. Today I will be reviewing every title in the current catalog of MetaQuest Plus to determine whether or not it's a good deal. If you don't know what MetaQuest Plus is, it's a subscription that you can get for your MetaQuest that gives you access to a catalog of over 20 titles with 2 new ones being added every single month. And for a limited time, you can get a 1-month free trial with the link in the description. And if you've recently bought a MetaQuest 3S, you actually have access to a 3-month free trial. But with that out of the way, let's hop into the catalog. Starting off strong, we've got Asgards Wrath 2. With over 30 hours of story-based content with tons of additional content, Asgards Wrath 2 has weeks worth of enjoyment. It's the largest and the most detailed RPG on the MetaQuest, with bosses, quests, kit building, and intricate puzzles. For the pure amount of content alone, backed by the beautiful art and detailed story, Asgards Wrath is a 10 out of 10 for anyone interested in RPGs. Red Matter is very similar to Asgards Wrath in the fact that it has a long story-driven single player. However, Red Matter leans more into the puzzles as you attempt to uncover the strange research taking place in a military base after crashing on Rhea, one of Saturn's moons. Despite its beautiful scenery, well thought out puzzles, and story, the age of the game truly shows, as it can feel quite slow at times, and thus I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. No More Rainbows is a high-intensity platformer which takes its inspiration for its movement system from Gorilla Tag. The game has a childlike aesthetic with little gumballs everywhere that you murder violently while bouncing through each level as fast as possible. The game has quite a few levels with an incredibly active speedrunning scene as well as public lobbies for dueling other players. The community is wonderful, which is just an added bonus for a game like this, justifying it an 8 out of 10. Walkabout Mini Golf is a simple but fun mini golfing experience. There are tons of hidden little features, but in general the game is just simple mini golf fun. With 8 unique courses and even more DLC, it's my favorite game on the Quest, so you already know it's going to be our second 10 out of 10. Just like Walkabout Mini Golf, puzzling places is exactly what you'd expect it to be. You build puzzles, that's about it. Despite being pretty simple, it's surprisingly pretty fun, building these 3D puzzles to some nice calming sounds while the day cycles around you. However, despite the general enjoyment, at the end of the day, it's just puzzles, so I can't give it more than a 5 out of 10. Jurassic World Aftermath, I love the IP, I love the art style, and I love the choice to make it an interactive story. This really isn't much of a game, but rather a full-blown movie that you get to walk through. The art is stunning and the animation absolutely jaw-dropping. The voice acting is so-so, but it would still be a crime nonetheless to give this anything but a 10 out of 10. Frak Ninja is exactly what you'd think it would be. You get 2 katanas and you're cutting fruit. They have all the original game modes from the mobile version, and it's just as fun as when you were a little kid playing on your mom's phone. But at the end of the day, it's literally a mobile game meant to pass the time, so 6 out of 10. Cubism is simple. Take blocks and make cubes. The music and sounds are nice and soothing, but this is straight up a game for toddlers, on a device made for teens and adults. I guess if you really like squares, you might be into this, but for me, 2 out of 10. Sweet Surrender can be summed up as pew pew, no more robots. It's a fast-paced FPS with a decent variety of weapons and a large range of unique, interesting robot enemies. This game is all about mowing down robots and racing through the high-intensity fights. The music is great, which is echoed in the art style, earning it an 8 out of 10. Deio is a tabletop dungeon crawler with 7 unique roles, opening the door for many different styles of play. There are 5 dungeons, each containing its own gimmicks, enemies, and boss. The sheer amount of different interactions and combos leaves a lot to discover, but the lack of new updates leads to the game feeling a bit stale after all 5 of the dungeons have been complete. Thus, I feel Deio falls squarely into the 7 out of 10 category. Wallace and Gromit in the Grand Getaway, I couldn't even start the game, so I guess NA. Hunt Together at its core is a cute, fun ghost versus ghost hunter multiplayer game. Unfortunately, the community just isn't very active, which means unless you're planning to play with friends, there's nothing to do unless you want to get hunted by an AI ghost pretending to be a human ghost. So, 5 out of 10, lots of potential. Synth Riders is another rhythm game for VR. In my opinion, it feels better than Beat Saber, especially when it comes to playing pop songs. The sound effects and riding mechanics are fun and fluid, leading to a very satisfying feel. There is quite a variety of songs, with more DLCs being added all the time. The level of polish and the general vibe is just an 8 out of 10. Hand Physics Lab was surprisingly fun. The hand tracking on the Quest is still beyond atrocious, but it's much better than what it was, and this game shows that off perfectly. I found myself cracking the biggest smile just clicking switches on and off to control a stupid panel of lights to make it go from red to green. There is something surprising about the amount of content that it offers, and it doesn't really get old. So I think Hand Physics Labs honestly deserves an 8 out of 10. Guardians Frontline plays like off-brand Halo. The main threat are these alien bugs in which there is a fair bit of variety. Additionally, you have a multi-tool which you can use to build troops and command. The game is very rough, but nonetheless so much fun. Building up an army, mowing down space bugs, I mean, what's not to love? 7 out of 10. 2MD VR Football has absolutely nothing on NFL Pro Era. The game just feels wrong. Throws aren't accurate, the blocking doesn't make sense. I mean, practically everyone just bounces around the field. The one thing 2MD has going for it is its ability for you to draw up plays on the whiteboard. But that only goes so far if you can't actually throw the ball to the routes that you planned. 3 out of 10. I Expect You to Die 2 is a short and funny puzzle game that leans heavily into its gimmick of having you die every time you fail. In the game, there are 6 unique missions, each at their own unique locations. Each mission can take anywhere from 8 minutes to an hour depending on your density. The thing that truly sets this game apart is the overall quality. The sound design and music alone is amazing, and don't even get me started on the narration. Solid 8 out of 10. BAM is basically just tabletop Smash in VR. There are a few different game modes like King of the Hill, Carry the Crown, and Deathmatch, and what you're seeing right now is some laser thing, but no matter what game mode you're playing, it just feels clunky. The game had a lot of push for meta at the beginning, for being mixed reality way back when the Quest 3 dropped, and apart from that, it didn't really bring much to the table, so 3 out of 10. Aspire 1 VR Operative holds up 6 years later. Being a stealth infiltration shooter, you'd assume it'd get boring, but the game does a great job mixing up when to be stealthy and when to just say screw this and go all out guns blazing. The voice acting is decent, with a substantial amount of lore to keep the slower moments interesting, and even the art holds up. 9 out of 10. Until You Fall was interesting. It was a combo/blocking based sword fighting game with close in-your-face combat. There are your basic enemies that as you defeat allow you to upgrade your sword and dagger, giving them special perks and abilities. At the end of each little journey, you're faced with a boss-like creature, which puts your reaction time and kit to the test. The game has a very gripping gameplay loop with solid art and fluid mechanics. However, it's not my type of game, which is why I'm only giving it an 8 out of 10. Tetris Effect Connected, I mean, it's Tetris. I don't really know what else to say. I guess it's pretty and slightly more immersive, but for me, I'm gonna recommend you pass, because at the end of the day, it's Tetris. 2 out of 10. Song in the Smoke is your basic run-of-the-mill survival title with crafting and gathering. There's a bit of a plot, but it's fairly light with a focus primarily on the feeling of being in nature. The game looks incredibly rough, not graphically, although that isn't its strength either, but density-wise. The world feels empty, and not the good way where it makes you feel lonely. The map just straight up feels lifeless at times. Despite this, the gameplay scratches that survival itch, which is few and far between in VR, making it a solid 7 out of 10. Arrons Attack of the Squirrels. This game is absolutely amazing to play when you're at a small kickback with family or friends. It's an asynchronous title, meaning one person plays in VR and everybody else uses their phones. The one person in VR plays as a big tree, protecting its 4 golden nuts from the squirrels on their phone. It's simple, but leads to a lot of antics. 7 out of 10. Onward is a tactical S with lots of gadgets. The game is very rugged and gray with a focus on smart movement and strategic planning versus the run and gun mentality of something like Contractors. The game has been out for years and has been updated so many times, leading to this well-polished S game that I'm just too impatient to play at times. 7 out of 10. Shattered is a bizarre, story-driven title in which you pull items from your memories into your physical space. Pulling the items into your space allows you to interact with them, progressing the story with clues hidden in letters buried inside of drawers. The story has a creepy ambiance with a few jump scares sprinkled in as well. Although the story is compelling, the game feels rough. Interactable items feel very limited, and the interactions themselves feel clunky, completely pulling me out of the experience, and due to that, I'll have to knock Shatter down to a 6 out of 10. Space Pirate Trainer XD is just classic arcadey fun. You basically stand in one place with an arsenal of weapons all in one gun, which you use to fight off waves of flying robots trying to take you down. It's fast and fun and brainless, but can get old pretty fast, so 6 out of 10. Inep Unchained is the first game I received a key for as a creator way back when. I loved it when it came out for its unique take on the dungeon crawler genre. Its use of bow mechanics feels great and makes it stand out from the countless shooters on the quest. There is quite a bit of content, but still feels dated, especially compared to the sheer quantity and density of content like that in Asgards Wrath 2. Despite the limited replayability, I keep a little spot in my heart for this title, thus I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. With all the games ranked, here's a little breakdown. The average across all the titles is an 8.7 out of 10, and with roughly 10 unique genres represented for just $5 a month, this seems like an amazing deal for almost anyone with a VR headset. Clearly there are some games tossed in there just to pad the numbers, but with just Asgards Wrath 2, Walkabout Mini Golf, and Synth Riders alone, there is months worth of enjoyment at a cost less than any one of those games on their own. So if I were you, I would check out the link down in the description to claim your free trial and see if any of these games are for you. Hopefully you all enjoyed. If you did and want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But with that, I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody. Bye.